Hi, I'm Megan Baker, and this is InfluenceHER. Bridget and Lauren Murray are twin sisters and co-vice presidents of the Murray Insurance Group, a family-owned independent insurance agency headquartered in Albany. In addition to managing operations, Bridget is responsible for sales and marketing, and Lauren heads new business sales and retention for all auto and home clients. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a first for us because we've never had two guests on at once. So we welcome you and we look forward to learning more about the two of you.
Thank you for having us.
As a mother of teenage girls, as I mentioned myself, they're 13 years old. I love to see that twin sisters are at the helm of a successful local business. In fact, it's something that I just discussed with my two daughters when they were asking me, Mom, can we both be a president or a CEO? So here you are to answer that, and we'd like to know what tips that you can share with others to help lead a business.
So just a little bit of background. It's myself, my sister, and my father, but before the three of us, it was also my brother, my husband, and then my brother-in-law owned an insurance agency next door. So it was literally all of us within a confined space except for my mother and my sister-in-law. And it was challenging, but to be completely honest with you, we love every second of it. And I think that is unique. You know, you hear some horror stories about family businesses and people not getting along. But I can honestly say that there's no one else I would rather work with ever. I think that you would probably feel the same way.
Definitely.
And we have a blast. But I think what I could personally boil that down to is that my father has set the tone that we are family first. You know, there's obviously the business exists, but we are there to serve the business. The business is not there to serve us, so we're not there to make money from it. We are there to serve the community. But at the end of the day, we all go home and we have each other. You know, work always comes second. And so that's the way that we always operate. But aside from that, it's really finding your individual strengths, because like we talked about, Bridget and I are very competitive people, especially with each other. So at first, it was a little difficult, but you know, we eventually figured out, here's what I am good at, here's what Bridget is good at.
Which is a separation of departments.
And here's what my dad is good at. I'm quieter, so I like doing a lot of the behind the scenes work. You know, I can talk on the phone and I can do all of that, but that's not really my true strength. Bridget is really great with people and being out there, and my dad just talks. You know, my dad just loves to talk. So we have really figured that out, and we have played to everybody's strengths. And that has really, I think, been the biggest thing. So we come together collaboratively and just remember that we all have the same goal.
Do you have anything to add to that?
We have surrounded ourselves with really amazing people too, who also, you know, recognize that it's a family business, and they're very respectful of that, and they, you know, also play into our strengths. So I think, you know, growing the business as a family, it's also really important to surround yourself with good people.
Women in insurance are underrepresented. It's still more of a men's world out there. What advice do you have for women who are looking to climb the ladder to the next level in a male-dominated industry?
I think the most important thing is to develop an expertise in your craft. Right? So that is going to be the easiest way to get recognized, is if you're very good at what you do and you know it very well, like that's going to shine through. So you can't just bully your way, you know, up the ladder. You have to really know what you're doing, and I think that that's the most important thing. I think developing strong internal relationships within the company is also really important. And if you can do that, also backed by an expertise, that will build a lot of respect around what you're attempting to do. And I think also it's important for women to be assertive, not aggressive. Aggression kind of can lead to, you know, a standoffish relationship. People maybe don't want to come in as close, but if you're assertive, you're respecting yourself and the people around you. So I think that those are three important things to think about when you're trying to kind of move up the ladder.
Great advice. What are the best resources you can recommend for women in business looking to grow their careers?
We talked about this the other day, actually, how important mentors are.
Yes.
Through my career, I have found mentors to be critical. So I actually started in corporate America. I started with a very large insurance brokerage, and then I went to an insurance company, and I was assigned mentors. And those relationships didn't feel as organic as the ones that I was able to build at the Murray Group when I was personally selecting my mentors. And we still have mentors at the Murray Group, you know. Doesn't matter what level you're at, you're always trying to get to the next level. And there's a lot of amazing local women leaders who I have reached out to, and some males too, who understand the struggles that females have. And they've been really critical to my success, and then, you know, subsequently the success of the Murray Group. I think of my friend Sujata Chaudhry, who I'm sure you know. And I think of Andre Crisafoli. She's given me some amazing advice. And definitely respect you and, you know, what you've built with Baker Public Relations. So I think that there's a lot of local women leaders who are very willing to step up and take on that role.
Mentoring is key. It really is. And I've had really good, both male and female, and I think that's important too, to have a variety.
For sure.
What should women consider when selecting insurance plans, and what should they look for in an insurance agent? Because that can be a challenge too. And I know I went through this when buying a home down in Florida recently.
So I would say, you know, I put a lot of thought into this. I'm not sure that this answer is so gender specific, really. I think it really boils down to finding somebody that you trust, right? Regardless if you're male or female. You know, at the end of the day, insurance is very important. It's meant to protect you. You have to trust somebody with all of these assets of yours, right? You have to be able to talk to them, understand them. Yes, price makes a difference, but you have to have a good relationship with your agent. And if you don't trust them, then, you know, what you're buying is really meaningless. So trust, communication. You know, I do think that there are a lot of women who are more comfortable dealing with other women. It's just a fact of the matter. And women are better at understanding certain situations, being sympathetic and comforting. And I think that that definitely comes across. But similarly, I would also say it's very important for women to take an interest in their own insurance, right? You know, you would be shocked in today's day and age how many phone calls we get. I'm going through a divorce. My husband always handled this for me.
Right.
What do I have? What do I need to do next? And it's really critical that women understand these things and have control over them, or, you know, share in the control of them. We always say the worst time to find out what kind of insurance you have is at the time of a loss, right? And it could be a huge financial setback to have something happen that you weren't expecting. So I think it's really important that it goes both ways. You know, you have to really trust your agent and have good communication with them. But also, women need to take an interest in the business side of things as well. And it's sometimes surprising how little they do. And then also, though, there's a lot of women who just do take control of the family finances. But more often than not, we find a lot of women calling saying, I have no idea what I have. And it's critical that women understand that.
In 2019, your family suffered a devastating loss when your brother passed away of blood cancer.
Yes.
That really got your whole family together, more so, and really wanting to step up and do something about it. Tell us first what that was like, being that he was part of the business too in your family unit.
Wow. I remember the day like it was yesterday that he found out he was diagnosed. I'm sure that you do too. Of course, you forget about the business. You hear that, and you don't care about work. You're just like, oh my God, what's going on with my brother? And he insisted on working, trying to work, but it was very difficult. But we immediately thought to ourselves, my God, you know, he is our biggest producer. You know, obviously we're in sales, and he's our biggest producer, and it really freaked us out. He actually taught us a lot through the experience because he was a workaholic, and he said, guys, when I get through this, because he was very confident he was going to get through. He said, when I get through this, I'm going to work a lot less. You know, work is meaningless. You know, everybody needs to understand that work is meaningless. So he taught us a lot through that too. But it was a very difficult process. It freaked us out.
It was also the second loss from cancer, right? So our mother, Nancy, had passed away from breast cancer.
I didn't know that.
When she was 58.
Oh my goodness.
She passed away in 2009. So I don't want to say we knew what to expect. As tragic as it was, we had a little bit of an idea of what to expect, and so we did, try to reach out as early as we could, and
but he never came back. So my brother, workaholic one day, never came back into the office the next, and it really forced us to think outside the box. Okay, our biggest producer is not here. What do we do next? And you rely on your people in that situation, right? You go to your supporters, your friends and family, and you really rely on them. And we really owe it to them because they came through for us big time. And we're doing great as with him as our motivation. But it really forced us to think outside the box and think differently and open our minds to, okay, how do we continue this success without him here? And I think we've been able to do it. We've been very blessed to have great people around us that helped us do that.
Yeah. You're keeping his legacy alive through your involvement with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. That is what really pushed you and got you involved with campaigning for Man Woman of the Year. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that experience and what that was like?
Sure. So, there was so little that we could do to help Ryan. He was immunosuppressed, and he was just the kind of guy that didn't have this outreach. So we felt like one of the biggest things we could do was support him through the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which he actually asked us to do. And the fact that he asked us to do that, we said, okay, this is giving Ryan a lot of hope. So we started with that in 2018 and into 2019. And I personally have stayed involved as a means of, coping and trying to keep his memory alive, like you said. But I've actually learned a lot about the work that LLS does, in the few years that we've been involved. So I have learned that all of this money that we're raising is going to really critical research. And I've actually kind of taken a step back, and we have a friend who kind of reframed it for us and said, listen, you're not donating, you're investing in the lives of friends and family, because it's pretty inevitable that, if we're not personally touched by cancer, that somebody around us will be. So I think of it like that now, as I am encouraging people to invest in each other's lives, because there's a pretty good chance we'll be impacted by cancer. And since Ryan passed away in 2019, LLS has helped fund 2 FDA-approved CAR T therapies for multiple myeloma patients, which is huge because Ryan passed away during a CAR T clinical trial. So to see our money actually, create these 2 potential cures is pretty awesome.
And as serving as co-vice chair of the local chapter, we really appreciate all you and your family do.
Thank you.
Really,
Not to toot Bridget's horn, but I watched her take on that endeavor, as somebody who just lost a brother, as a mom, as a business owner. And wow, anybody who agrees to do that is doing amazing things, because it is a huge task.
Yeah.
And you did a great job, but so does everybody else who does it. It's an amazing thing to see.
So I do have to ask you this one final question. Being that you two spend so much time together, do you ever take time apart from each other?
Not a whole lot. We are very unique. And we don't really get sick of each other. It's kind of weird.
Well, our children are now also the same age.
Oh my goodness,
yes.
That's awesome.
And so my son absolutely loves her 2 sons and wants to spend all of his time with him. So we just end up together.
That's great. My daughters are inseparable. That's why I had to ask. And I hope it continues that way too, because they really are their best friends.
Yeah.
They fight and then they're over and done with it and laughing again.
Hopefully it always stays that way.
Well, Lauren, Bridget, it's been a pleasure talking with both of you
for having
of the
us.
Murray Group. Thank you so much. I'm Megan Baker. This is Influence Her.